Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining ISO and IBM for our first Webinette, Digital Innovation with APIs, External and Internal. Today's Webinette is being recorded. If anyone objects, you may disconnect at this time. I am Brian Silverman, ISO Group Senior Solution Consultant, and I am joined today by our co-host, Mr. Rick Walker from IBM. Rick, please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Rick Walker. I'm the Solution Representative for the Hybrid Cloud Software Portfolio with IBM.
Thank you, Rick. And we are also joined today by Cheryl Bertini, the ISO COO and Customer Service Leader. Cheryl, would you please say hello as well?
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today, and good afternoon or good morning if you're in the West like I am, and I hope you enjoy our webinar today. Take it away, Brian.
Thank you, Cheryl. So thank you again, everybody, for taking your time. We know at ISO and IBM your time is valuable, and that's why we came up with this idea of a Webinette. The goal is to keep it short, up to maybe 20 minutes of content, talk to you about a topic that we are finding of value with our clients and customers, and make it interactive so that you can ask questions. You'll note in the GoToMeeting interface, you can, in the chat area, enter questions. Or after the presentation, we'll open it up and you can, basically you'll see there's a hand, you can raise your hand and we can unmute your phone and you can ask a question at that time. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we want to do is, we're sure that you all know who IBM is, but Cheryl was worried that you may not have heard of ISO Group. So we want to let you know who we are. We're a Bay Area IBM Premier Partner. We've been in business for over 18 years as an IBM partner focused on integration, security, and helping our customers understand and gain the most business value from their technology. So we'll talk a little bit more about some of our recommendations in this area, but we just wanted to introduce who we are and let you see a little more about us and how we're working together with IBM and Rick. So I was thinking about this. I was driving the other 2 days ago on NPR. They were talking about the new driverless cars and how they're going to be connected and the security issues and all the things about them that we need to be concerned about. And I thought I would never have a driverless car and have all that connectivity. But if you sit in your office the way I do, and you look around and you look at your phone and you look at your laptop and you look at the watch on your wrist and the Fitbit on the other wrist, you start to see that we're all being connected by this new digital economy, whether we want to or not. So even a conservative user like me has all these connections, and his expectations of access and service and capabilities is growing. I don't know if anyone heard the news yesterday, but Sports Authority is actually closing its stores. I'm based in South Florida where they were actually started, and I will actually miss them. But what was most interesting was that they actually stated in their discussion yesterday about closing their doors that they are closing because online shopping and all this accessibility has reduced their opportunities to stay gainfully open and a productive business. So the question we have as we talk together with IBM, as we talk to customers such as yourself, is how do you take the investments you currently have in your environment, your current applications, and turn it around as opposed to being that legacy that is struggling Sports Authority, but turn that around into a competitive, innovative advantage for yourself. We believe one of the ways to do that is along APIs in the API economy. For those of you that may not be aware, API stands for Application Programming Interface. It really, the simplest example I've ever had is Netflix, and that is if you have a TV and the phone and your laptop and you're all accessing Netflix to play movies, you're basically calling, those apps are calling an API that's well documented at Netflix, and that video is playing on that device. And that gives Netflix this broad access to devices, but it also means the smart TV maker doesn't have to wait for Netflix to deliver an app for that TV. They can develop it themselves. That's why as you look out in the marketplace, truthfully, as you look at your TV, you can see different functionality or usability, frankly, across their applications, but the common experience of movie, replay, recommendation stays the same. That's what we're talking about as we're looking at this environment if you look at this slide. Think about your back-end systems and your back-end applications. Maybe there's purchasing, maybe you have accounts receivable, you have a customer database, you have CRM. Taking all of those systems and leveraging a middle tier to turn those into APIs and microservices can bring and deliver new capabilities into your market. I had this crazy idea the other day. I was at a hotel and I needed a rental car. And it was an older hotel that had a rental desk from one of the rental car companies to go nameless. And I thought, that's a pretty expensive piece of real estate in the hotel. And that rental car company is having to maintain real estate at the parking lot. It has cars and inventory that may not be rented. And then as I'm checking in at the desk, the hotel clerk says, give me your driver's license and the information to check you in. And I thought, wouldn't it be easier if he was asking me, did I need a rental car? He had within that application checking me in my requirements, my driver's license. He already has that. And he was able to provision an inventory of a rental car that was going to be delivered. That's the kind of API innovation that you can start to think about. That rental application being a legacy system, that check-in application at the hotel desk, and they all come together into something more innovative. And you can see very quickly how you can take that innovation and turn it around and deliver that into an app or another interface the same way that Netflix has done with their API. So we talk about a value chain of APIs in the economy. They're not new again. And I've been in the industry a little while. I'm sure White can tell me how many years. It's a little longer than I'll admit today. But in the beginning, APIs were really about two programs communicating to one another. It was really about one application maybe on a PC or a client and a server sharing a piece of work and getting that work done. What's new in this API economy we're talking about is it's actually taking the APIs of your applications, of your trusted environment, and making them available to your application developers, to your partners developers, to even new economic entities that maybe we don't even see today that can bring those services that you have trusted in your enterprise and bring them together. Thinking again about Netflix and providing that API out there, think about a hospital who has all this care knowledge within their databases, within their medical environment, and being able to repackage that as APIs that are accessible for home health care, for wellness websites, for fit applications out in the market. So taking APIs, being able to create them, document them, and expose them to new developers and new environments is creating a whole set of new opportunities and new ways of going to market and going to business together. There's a lot of discussion in Netflix as an example of an external API if you look at it from them provisioning their own API. But at ISO Group and in IBM as well, we don't want to just think about the external market. We want to think about all the potential that APIs can bring to your enterprise. So that's why we call this Webinette internal and external APIs, because you've got internal applications that you can turn around through APIs and create a whole new operation and new interface. Maybe you take your sales app, your CRM, your accounts receivable, and your inventory, and you package that into a new tablet app so that when your sales rep is sitting in front of Cheryl and she wants to buy 1,000 cars or 1,000 widgets, you know that her credit or she needs to pay, or you know what her priorities are, so you make sure she orders the right widget. That's really bringing those legacy applications together into an internal environment. And then you could turn around and provision that whole application suite for your key customers so that they can self-serve, if you will, or a partner who may be selling like we do with IBM and provide that same level of service to them in the external market. We think the key to this API economy and this innovation is to have a solution and a strategy that addresses all of your API needs. So think about, again, we talked about mobile sales professionals. Think about telemedicine and being able to have a doctor connect with someone who's getting ready to maybe have a procedure done the next day, and they just want to make sure they're not eating before midnight and they have this interaction with them. That's a legacy application coming together in a new technology in an innovative way. It helps both the patient, but it also helps reduce the cost for the healthcare organization as well. Thinking about delighting the customer with one-stop service. We go back to my hotel rental car example. not only did I rent the car with the hotel and it was a seamless process, but truthfully, because it was an API, that hotel check-in clerk upped the rental rate by 10%, and the hotel got more than a margin off of that rental experience, and the customer, being me, and the hotel and the rental car company are all happy. So bringing these things together creates new opportunities, new market, and new innovation, and it's really about bringing the internal and the external applications together. So one of the reasons we get excited about this is because IBM announced in February API Connect version 5. IBM is one of the, if not the only vendor that we're aware of in the marketplace who can support all of the lifecycle requirements in an API management, that middle tier solution we talked about a few minutes ago. Think about you've got a legacy customer database that you want to provide access to for a delivery company that's delivering your product into the market. API Connect can help you create that API, document that API, and provision it to your end users. It can also help you in the creation space to document leveraging Swagger and other in its process to document other APIs within your organization that may be already available, maybe leverage some of those external APIs like weather.com into your own service. It also gives the ability for you to run that API in a production and a successful environment so that you meet the critical service level agreements that you have to the business and to your end customers. It has the capabilities to allow you to manage those APIs. Think about Netflix and the different versions of their service. Think about that home health care person who's going home to home, and as they maybe move more and more rural, you provide more text information via a change of an API as opposed to more video or more visual maps, because you want to make sure they can get to the right location and treat the patient correctly even if they are more remote. And then finally, security is very important because it maintains your brand, it maintains your trust, and being able to have that secure performance environment is all critical. The other reason that we at ISO Group are so excited with API Connect is because IBM enables you to run API Connect on-premise. If you're a hospital wanting to do that nurses better care app, if you will, you may want to run it in the trusted environment of a hospital. You want to extend that app into a managed care environment where you're providing access to caregivers. So maybe you want to run that in the cloud. Maybe you want to run that on IBM software, bare metal. If you want to run that on other cloud providers, you can as well. And if you take the next leg and say that that hospital has wellness capabilities, you can run API Connect functionality in IBM's Bluemix platform. So now you've got the ability with one solution, one common skill set for your developers and for the people managing your APIs to be able to deploy that API across the different deployment models that may be important to your business. So you get 4 great things from API Connect that supports your API economy in the drive. You have speed of application development because you've got the catalog, you've got the create capabilities, you've got the Node.js, the JavaScript, all the Java development and support for APIs. You've got the security to make sure that that information going out is only, and that API is only accessed by the developers and the users that you want to access and not exposing critical information into the world. You can publish those APIs that we were talking about externally and making them available via a portal that other users maybe would want to access as, to augment a wellness application, to maybe verify shipping, and you can also incorporate those external APIs like weather. If we go back to that rental car example, you could determine based on the hotel and the potential weather whether you're going to rent me a convertible when you know it's getting ready to snow. Truthfully, if you knew me, you probably wouldn't want to rent the car if it's snowing to me anyway because I live in Florida. But beside that point, all this comes together and gives you the opportunity to innovate and do the things that drive your success in the digital economy. You can do this very securely because API Connect is built and runs with IBM's Datapower Gateway. ISO Group has been a partner of IBM's for 18 years. We've also been a Datapower Premier partner since IBM's acquisition in 2005. And that is the other reason that we are so strong and supportive of the API Connect offering because it runs with IBM's Datapower Gateway, and we know that means that API Connect can perform securely and provide the capabilities that you all need to be successful. It supports back-end integration capabilities. It integrates with IBM's mobile-first offerings and makes it easy for any company to access the APIs and develop the mobile and the new digital age applications that everybody is talking about. So at ISO Group, we think 3 steps are a great approach to your API strategy. The first is work with us to help you define what that API framework should be for your business. As I started, we at ISO Group believe the right thing to do is to match the technology to your business requirements. And we can do that helping you define the key requirements, what that solution will look like, and what the right architecture will be. We can help you deploy the solution as a certified IBM partner. We can help you stand up the API Connect environment, look at Datapower, look at your other integration requirements to make sure that you're successful. We believe in key steps, things like documentation and making sure that your team understands the best practices for deploying and managing the solution. And then within the last year, we announced per our customers' request a new service called On-Demand Services, which gives you our experts available on call. So think about you've got a delivery application, and today you are mapping and you're doing all the critical things you need to do. And now you want to incorporate weather or some additional service into that app, and you want to know what is the best practice or what's the right level of API call and how to do that without impacting the performance of that app and hindering your delivery teams from delivering the product on time. We give you an on-demand expert to be called and available to you. If you find all of this interesting, and we hope you do, we are co-hosting with IBM on June 9th a longer webinar, not to be confused with a Webinette. That webinar will include more details on the IBM API Connect offerings, and we're also planning a demo, a short demo, so that you can see the interface to see how productive it can be across the API lifecycle to support your environment. And I think we did it, Cheryl, I think we got it under the 20 minutes, almost right at 20 minutes. I promised her that we would keep these webinars short and hopefully of value to you all. If any of you happen to have questions, I don't know, Cheryl, have we had any questions in the chat room?
I don't see anything yet at this point.
Okay.
Maybe we'll give a few minutes and see if anybody has any. Or do you want to open up the lines, Brian, and see if somebody wants to?
Well, if you are looking in the tool from GoToMeeting, you'll see there's a hand that you can raise. If you want to raise your hand, we will unmute your phone and you can ask a question. We'd be happy to take any questions. And if you do have questions after the call, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us from IBM or the ISOA team. And also, we are recording this webinar, and we'll make the recording as well as slides available to y'all as soon as we can. All right. Well, again, thank you, everybody, and we hope you have a great day, and we look forward to supporting you in your API requirements, and we'll give you a few minutes back into your busy day. Thank you.